In an exclusive interview, Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson is speaking out about the future of City Hall, the nearly 50-year-old iconic landmark designed by renowned architect I.M. Pei. The city is considering selling it, tearing it down and moving to another building, or keeping it and fixing it. The repairs alone are estimated at $329 million, while modernizing it for the next 20 years is estimated at $1 billion. Mayor Johnson is expressing confidence in the process and those cost estimates.
I believe that those numbers are accurate. I just want to say that right up front, because I do know that there's questions about whether or not these numbers have been inflated, or should we trust these numbers. I don't know where we'd get another set of numbers that would be more trustworthy. These companies that have looked at this are very reputable, and so I believe the numbers. I really believe that our job as a council and as a city is to do the best thing that we can, for our taxpayers. Not a good thing, but the best thing with the taxpayers' dollars.
So your bottom line is weighing the cost of moving versus staying?
So there's a couple things happening at once here, and so that is one aspect of this for sure, which is the question of where would be the best place for the physical location for our city government to operate from, whether that would be staying here or moving elsewhere. That's something we need to figure out, and we need to know what the options are to be able to answer that question. The other question would be this site where City Hall is located, is this the highest and best use of this site, especially considering what we are now dealing with in terms of the redevelopment potential for downtown Dallas?
Well, you have three former mayors, Ron Kirk, Tom Leppert, Mike Rawlings, all want the city to leave this building, and because of the convention center is being redeveloped. They say that would invite billions of dollars. Then obviously everybody's been talking about, would this be a good place for a new Mavericks arena, hotels, it's an entertainment district, etc. Are they right?
I think they very well could be. And look, I will tell you that I think it's great that they are weighing in and sharing their opinions, and I think they're experienced, and they've led the city before. I can't govern the city based on a hunch or instinct or gut feel. I have to look at data, which is why I'm very, very much in favor of what the council, including myself, just voted to do, which is part of what we authorize the city manager to do is to explore options for this site. So I would like to see what comes back and what they say this site could unlock. I mean, does my gut tell me that the best use of this part of downtown is not to be a government center, which I think is kind of a dated concept in and of itself, to have a cluster of government buildings right in the middle of what could be the most vibrant part of your downtown that by definition closes at 5 p.m. My gut tells me that's not a great idea. But I want the city manager to go through the exercise of actually exploring what private development options there would be. What interest would there be in this site? And if there are really great economic development opportunities for the city that would be unlocked by us leaving this site, I would be very, very compelled by that.
So let me ask you, because you touched on it before, you've had preservationists, a lot of residents down here very upset about this, and I even spoke with former Mayor Laura Miller, who told me she's opposed to demolishing City Hall. She says there's been a lack of transparency and riddled with self-interest, this whole process. And what do you say to those people who feel that way?
Well, I'm not sure why former Mayor Miller feels that way, because I can tell you that the process has been the definition of transparent. I mean, it's just not true that this process hasn't been transparent. You can go back to when I initially sent out a memo, I put it in writing, I distributed it publicly saying to the council, I want a committee to look at options for City Hall. So that was very transparent. The meetings that were called subsequent to my request were all open to the public. Discussions were had at those meetings, and every single thing that has happened has been compelled by council action.
I want to ask you about the Dallas Morning News recently reported on these 5,000 emails, 5,000 pages of emails between city leaders. And they raised the question of how fully engaged are you at City Hall in this process?
Yeah, I'm fully engaged in everything that goes on around here. I've been fully engaged, and honestly, I'm going to decline to quibble with the Dallas Morning News about what they. I don't even know what these emails really that they have found say. I just know what I do every day, which is I wake up early in the morning, come to this building, and give the city everything I have. I work tirelessly on behalf of this city, and I do everything I possibly can to make sure this city is represented well here locally, nationally, internationally.
And remember, you can watch all our full interviews from today's show on our CBS Texas YouTube page. And while you're there, do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe button. And that's all for Eye on Politics this week. I'm Jack Fink. I am listening, and we are listening to you at CBS News Texas. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. And from all of us here, have a great weekend.